Hey guys, welcome to session number 51 of the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. Very nice. One man with one microphone who just invested in a hot tub. Welcome to the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another session of the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. And of course, a happy new year to all of you, and welcome back to the podcast. And welcome to 2021. Hopefully, it will bring a different year than 2020 did for the majority of us. Now, I was in kind of two minds as to what I was going to start with for the first podcast of the year, the first one back. And actually, I think it's a really appropriate one to start talking about the importance of setting goals. Now, so many of you get in touch with me about, wanting to be a trailer composer, either that you're sidestepping from advertising or film scoring or game composition or another career. So you've got money coming in the door, you want to sidestep going into trailer composition, or complete newbie who wants to crack the industry, and get their foot in the door, get their first placement, and away you go. Or I get emails from people who do actually do this. So it's not just emails, I get people who take my courses as well, who are already trailer composers looking to refine their craft. You have to apologise. You have to apologise. I have to apologise. Of course, the day I chose to go for my walk to do my podcast, it's a bit windy. So you'll have to accept my apologies for the occasional annoying wind sound. Maybe sample it and turn it into a boil. I don't know. So, I get lots of you contacting me about this, about becoming a trailer music composer. And as we're at the start of the year, let's talk about the importance of setting goals. There's in my mind, there's two distinct angles and important factors as to why you should be setting goals. And of course, there are some negative implications to goal setting, but that's the only negative implications there are, I guess, fanaticism or, creating stress for yourself. So let's get into the two areas of goal setting. Why it's important for you when getting into trailer music, when getting into anything really. The first one is the idea of giving you something to strive for. Because, so say imagine you've got free time, you've got, a day a week or every evening in the week, or even you've got a whole day wide open every day to do this. How do you know what to focus on? How do you know what to do? How do you know what to put your time and energy into? And the only way you're going to do that is, I apologise for the weak analogy, but put your target destination in your sat-nav, in your internal sat-nav. You've got to aim to get to somewhere. And, obviously we can sort of take that analogy and say, well, actually, along the hero's journey, the most interesting path is the one that deviates you from your intended path. But that's why I'm not talking about the actual path to get there. I'm talking about the destination. Because sometimes the path doesn't look the way you thought it would. Like I said, my destination was, I think I'd written it, so how long ago? When I first started getting into trailer composition back in when was it? 2011? 10 years ago. 10 years ago when I first started getting into trailer composition, I was sitting down and I did that kind of thing where I was like, okay, in five years' time, what will my life look like? And I detailed it, and hurrah, I got there. The only difference was my studio isn't on a beach. It's in kind of a small village in England. So yeah, the only difference is that, I'm not on a beach. Everything else was the same. It was right for a few hours in the morning, for some big trailer campaigns, and then spend the rest of the time with my family, which is pretty much what I do. And it's so nice, because I'd kind of forgotten I'd done this exercise. I'd kind of forgotten that I'd sat down and written this 5-year plan. Admittedly, I think, did it take 5 years? I think it was 6 years. But I'd planted the seed with that exercise. I had set the intention in my mind that drove me to what I wanted, which was to write trailer music for a living. And that's what I'm focusing on this first point, which is giving you the drive, whether it's the subconscious drive or whether it's the conscious motivation to get up and do it every day, especially in the face of said, air quotes, failures. You know what, it's really, really difficult when you have had what you would consider a failure or a near miss to then get back on the horse. I'm sorry, Murray, I'm not a gymnast. Getting back on the horse, getting back on the job, and sometimes it's important to take those times, but take that time to recuperate from these sort of emotional times of what you would consider a failure, but often when you look back are actually successes in disguise. Now, one of the things is that the goal gets you back on course. The goal gets you into action. It kind of gives you a nice kick up the bottom to get back into the chair and start writing again. Also, it just reminds you what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. Now, that's a really, really important word here, is the why. Hello. Morning. Because the why is the most important part of a goal. One could say that the goal is the what. So, for instance, 30 grand a year from writing trailer music. That's the what. But why? Because the why is the secret thing that's going to really push you forward. Why? Because it will enable me to have more time to be with my family. It will enable me to have the time and the space to focus on writing music that I love, and that hello. There's all these doggies coming to say hello to me. It's dog walkers time in the morning, obviously. So you've got these whats, but the why is the thing and the most important element that you should be focusing on when you're setting your goals, because that is what is actually going to motivate you. As much as we were all kind of motivated by money and things like that, as much as we're all motivated by money is the tool. Money isn't the reason. And I can say that because I've kind of surpassed my money goals, because I do set money goals, because for me it's another sort of thing to focus my attention on. I've surpassed my money goals, but that never changes anything really. The why is where you're going to find that success that you're looking for. So to give yourself the drive and the motivation to continue, make sure you outlay a why to your goal. Not just the what's, i.e. to score one Hollywood feature length trailer for a Marvel film. That's a what. Why? You've got to think about why. Why? What is that going to bring to your life? Yes, that could set you up for a year or more, depending on where you live in the world. But why? So if that was to be my goal, and it never has been my outwardly stated goal, and that's because I, like the rest of you, suffer from those darn limiting beliefs. Although I've landed tracks on those campaigns, multiple times, there's still a tiny part of me that goes, I'm just not good enough to get the feature length. That's why. And that's probably why I've never got it. Not because I'm not good enough, but because I believe it and I put that out into the world, which is a sad admission, but, I think it's important for me to admit that to you guys. I'm not infallible to limiting beliefs and things like that. But why would that be? So if that's my goal, to land one of those trailers, why? Okay, well, firstly, it would be a huge pat to my ego and to my childhood / teenage self, who read the comics, who collected the cards, who absolutely worshipped superheroes, and specifically the X-Men, a long time ago. But why? What would it bring to me that landing smaller trailers wouldn't? And that's when you start to understand when you're writing a goal for a vanity metric, for a vanity sort of notch, or for a real reason. Because the why could be because I want to prove to my family that I can do something big. And that's not a bad reason at all. I think a lot of the reason I do what I do is to prove to people that you can be successful doing creative work, you can be successful doing music, you can be successful doing art, you can be successful and more successful than other people doing more traditional work. But then we're getting into the discussion about, well, what is success? And success is a very subjective thing, and that has come to my realization as I have garnered my own successes, that the successes that people lay down on you as a child, as a teenager, oh, you need a steady job, you can't do a creative subject, you'll never earn any money, these are their ideas of success. Whereas my idea of success, and this is my why, is to have the time and the money to live the life I want with my family. Right? That's my why. And trailer music has afforded me that why, which I'm eternally grateful for, because I can do that. I can walk around in the woods talking to my phone, helping you guys. I'm not being paid to do this, but I get to do the things I want to do, just have the time to do the things I want because of the trailer music successes I have achieved. So my big meandering thing here is, if you're putting down your what goals, your achievements, think about the deeper why. Because it could be like, for instance, most of my trailer income comes from TV spots, and often from smaller films. That doesn't mean the budget's any smaller. That's by any means. In fact, I've been paid better for films people have never heard of than sort of big, very famous stuff. Even for the same usage, it's just... And that's the funny thing about fees. I'm not going to get into that one today, but my goal sort of started to change as I started to see the money, as I started to see the placements, as I started to see the awards. It started to change to, well, I want to help other people, because this feels amazing, and if I can help somebody else feel amazing too, hey. And that's why I started the Trailer Music School. And that's why Vikram Goody and I started Protégé and our library Blue Pearl, which launches this month. To help other composers, to help other people who are perhaps, I don't know, a week, a month, a year, a decade behind me in their journey. Because I wanted that. So that's my why. Because I now have that freedom and time and money to be with my family. So now what is the why to my work? And that why is going to motivate you. So write down your goals, guys. Write them down this year. I want to land 10 trailers this year. And the more specific you are, the better. Don't just say 10 trailers. 10 international TV spots. 10 act ones on feature lengths. And what is it that's getting placed? Is it your epic hybrid music? Is it your solo piano stuff, what's being placed? Because remember, the stuff, and this is going to get into point 2 for me, the stuff that really matters is the energy you put in, because that is going out like a beacon. And that's why, I was saying about perhaps me never landing a huge blockbuster trailer, from start to finish. Well, I suppose the thing is I have. I say that and I'm like, oh wait, I have. I'm speaking specifically about an Avengers trailer, really. I mean, let's be honest with you now, because that was the second trailer I ever pitched for, was the Avengers Assemble, and I didn't get it, obviously. So that kind of like carried that learning curve with me. And that's what I was talking about, like me secretly believing that I don't deserve those big ones. And I think the thing is, like, having spoken to other composers, there's a lot of us who walk around with those beliefs. And this is the wonderful thing about being vulnerable to you guys, is that actually, like, me being vulnerable, when I'm sort of, I guess, stood up on a pedestal, because I have this podcast, I have my school, I have my protege, I have Blue Pearl, I have all these awards and things like that, I can be vulnerable, and you can relate to that. The energy you put in to your goal goes out like a beacon. It's like writing it down is magic. Writing it down, ping, sends out this message. Whether you believe this stuff or not, I don't care, really. I believe it completely and wholeheartedly. The amount of times I have written a goal in tremendous detail and it has happened has astounded me. The amount of times I've made a mood board for something, forgotten about it, and then found it years later and been like, this is exactly like, for instance, the house my wife and I bought last year, 2019. We'd done a mood board about 5 years previous to that, maybe even longer, maybe even 7 years, of what our dream house would look like, and we found it after we moved in, and it was like someone had taken pictures of the house we bought. Because whether you say to me, oh, well, that's just because it's planted in your subconscious, Richard, so subconsciously you're chasing these things, or whether you're thinking, well, yeah, that's because you've manifested it with your energy, whether you're the two thoughts of that, it's basically the two sides of the same coin. The energy you're putting in goes out like a signal, whether that's a signal into your subconscious, or whether that's a signal into the universe, or God, or your higher soul, or whatever you want to call it. It goes out like a signal. So set your goals as if they are sending a message in a bottle, because it really, really works. Now, I'll put a caveat to that. It's not just like, hey, I want $1 million. Write it down. Bing. Oh, here it is. It's like this. That's a what? Remember, I want $1 million. Why? Why do you want $1 million? So that I can buy a house outright, so that I can, my family don't have to work in the jobs they don't like. That type of thing. That's detailed whys, as well as a detailed what. I want $1 million from landing consistent horror trailers using my dark cello writing. Great, there we go. So that I can have a house, give my family and myself financial freedom to do what we want, when we want. What's going to happen is this. That goal isn't going to come straight back at you, bang in the face. It's kind of like building a Lego house. It's going to come to you brick by brick. It might be that suddenly an old friend of yours emails saying, hey, I need some help with this thing. And you say, sure, that's brick one. You help them out. Brick one. And then all of a sudden, another person posts on your Facebook wall and says, hey, I just spoke to your friend and you did this for them. I actually do this. Can you help me with this? And all of these little things will pop out at you. Or for instance, you're just following these little breadcrumbs. Or for instance, you might post on Instagram a picture of something that for you is like a passion. I don't know what it is. World of Warcraft, for instance. You might post on there, and then somebody who follows you might message you saying, "Hey, I see that you're a fellow nerd like me," and I can say that because I have spent some time of my life playing World of Warcraft. So no judgment, guys. A fellow nerd, welcome to my clan. That type of message, of course. I do roleplay events, and then you go to one of their roleplay events. At the roleplay event, you meet somebody who owns a trailer house. At that thing, you start hanging out whilst sort of thwacking rubber swords around the house. Oh, let me hear your stuff. Here's my stuff. Oh, we've got this thing. Can you pitch a track for it? Oh, here is blah 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 blah. Fast forward however many increments, however many breadcrumbs, however many Lego bricks later. Oh, I've just earned not 1 million, but 250,000. Because when you put that goal out, it's not necessarily going to come to you in the exact form. And there's lots of reasons why you could say that, because of the limiting beliefs you're holding, because of it coming to you in breadcrumbs, in tiny incremental ingredients, that it will come to you like that. And then you can look back and go, oh wow, because I was open to what was coming towards me, and I was open to the idea of giving back out, I started a cycle of giving and taking. Now, some people might call that karma, some people might call that service, some people might call that life. That is what's going to happen when you set these goals. Now, I've kind of gone into the second part of why it's really important for you to set goals, and that is because setting a goal is an energetic beacon for yourself and for the universe to bring these things towards you. Like I said, you don't have to use discernment, guys. You don't have to take what I'm saying as truth or fact or anything, because I can't say it's fact, because I can't say I've done many scientific studies on it. My experience is that actually manifesting works, and what you have to do is, so for those of you who don't know, manifesting is where you essentially, your idea is that the universe and the world is all energy. We are all energy. We are all beings of frequency. We're getting into quantum physics here. Everything is made of energy. And if you think about it as a musician, kind of like resonant frequencies, you play an A string, any other strings in the vicinity of that string will vibrate if they have an element of A within them. It's that whole idea of like attracts like. So if you find yourself sort of constantly being attracted towards angry people, maybe that's because there's a lot of anger in you. If you find yourself surrounded by beautiful, lovely people, then, well, that's surely a nice thing, right? Everything is energy. And manifesting is the idea that everything in the world is made manifest by energy, and thoughts are energy. So if you think and act upon a thought enough, it becomes real. And like I said, you don't have to take it with a pinch of salt, whatever. This is my belief, and this is my explanation as to why goals work. It's the secondary layer to it. Setting it out so that you have a step-by-step process to get into that goal, and also because what you're doing is you're manifesting that thing into your life. If any of you are interested, there's some great books on it. E Squared by Pam Grout, or The Field, I forget who it's written by. Great books. Anyway, enough of that. There's no affiliation here, by the way, just good reads, good fun too. So what we're doing is we're sending energy out, and it's almost like somewhere in the universe, this thing we want is being made. In the forges of the mystical, that type of, it's, the thing is, I love this stuff because it appeals to my Warcraft playing teenage self. or StarCraft or whatever the games were. Many, many fantastic games. It appeals to me, this idea of the fantastical, the spiritual, this magical thing about life. And when we write a goal, it's not just like, just write a goal so I know exactly what to do to achieve what I can achieve, but then I can't achieve it because I don't know what to do. And then this whole spiritual, mystical side of it brings you hope, brings me hope, and it also brings that thing into existence. I have achieved things that I kind of wrote as like out of this world goals, where I was like, wouldn't it be nice if, or wouldn't it be amazing if, that type of goal. And I've achieved those things. And I put that down to goal setting, being open to myself and to the universe and to opportunities that come my way. And, I don't want to, but it's going to happen. I'm going to quote Anna from Frozen 2, do the next right thing. Yes, my daughter's going to be so proud. Do the next right thing. You get to that point where getting to the goal is one step after the other. And sometimes along the hero's journey we are taken into darkened woods that we don't believe are any part of our destination, but they really are. Because you might have to, on your journey to making $1 million from your solo cello horror cues, that is, you might have to go through a period of struggle. But it's all part of the journey. The hero's journey, which, anyone not know Joseph Campbell's work, read up on that. It's brilliant. His book's quite heavy. I don't mean physically heavy. They're quite academic. But he's done some great videos with, what's his name? Bill something. Great interviews. Look him up. The Hero's Journey, Joseph Campbell. Amazing stuff. It's what Star Wars was based on, which I think, if I know my audience correctly, was the key word you guys wanted to hear. That's what George Lucas read, The Hero's Journey, which inspired him to write Star Wars. So, there you go, guys. It's fact. Anyway, this is why goals are so important. And the other thing, this is the third and cryptic element to goal setting, don't share them. Don't share them. I have made this mistake far too many times. Now, if we think in the terms of a plant, sometimes, whether people realise it or not, sharing a goal is like saying to someone, hey, look, I've planted a seed and it started to grow. Can you stamp on it, please? I'm sure you all know what I mean. It's like when we're teenagers or 20-somethings or whatever, when we say, hey, I want to write music for a living, and everyone goes, ha! Don't share the goals, okay? Not because we're embarrassed about them, but because they need to be nurtured. And they need to be kept safe. You don't let your tree saplings loose into a field of deer without protection. Oh, I'm going all in with different analogies today. It's because I haven't done a podcast for a couple of weeks now, so I've been obviously saving them. Protect those things. Now, if you think about it energetically, it's like this. You have to set a goal, and this little thing appears in the world of energy. And it's like, hey, I'm this awesome little goal. I'm really small and tiny and fragile. And then in the world of energy, you tell somebody who, sadly, is quite negative, and energetically they get a little energy spear and go pop, and there goes your goal, and there goes your motivation, and there goes your drive. And I'm saying this because actually, even with the best intentions, so many people have been programmed into some fairly cynical beliefs about life. Namely, you can't have it all, you can't get paid to do the things you love, you can't just earn money from the internet, all these things that we're all programmed in to our parents' generation, and sadly to our generation, and even a younger generation through that parenting, that comes out in people, especially if you push their comfort zones or limiting beliefs. I myself have done it, and it's come out of my mouth and I've gone, oh, balls. I've done it. I've burst their bubble. And, that's the saying that I think this all comes from. bursting someone's bubble. They're in this lovely bubble of excitement, and I've got this goal, and it's going to be amazing, and I'm so excited about trying to achieve this thing, and pop. Good luck with that. Oh. You know, and I remember this from teaching. Obviously, I'm still teaching, but when I was teaching kids, you know, the words and the congruence with which you deliver those words can make or break someone's experience. You know, and I know there's this whole school of thought that's been like, well, you should be tougher than that, shouldn't you? Sticks and stones and break your words, but words will never hurt you. That's the wrong way around, really, isn't it? Words are probably the most damaging thing. I will recover from a broken bone, but some words will take me decades to get over. But anyway, enough of that. Don't share that goal. Write those goals down. Be specific about the whats. Be specific about the whys. Close your goal book. Push it away, and wait. I don't mean wait. I mean be open to what's coming next. You know, and that what's coming next could be a thought. Could be a thought like, I should email that person. Oh, act on it. Even those slight thoughts that you don't even register really as thoughts, it might not be a thought, it might be a little drip from your soul, you know, drip from the universe, drip from God, whatever. A drip of a message saying, hey, you asked for this goal. It's like that podcast episode I did about whispers, quiet whispers. Go and send a message to this. It's kind of like, you know, when kids are trying to work something out and you can see they're really struggling, and you kind of lean over to them and you go, hey, think about it like this. And you give them a little whisper and they go, oh, of course. It's the same thing in life with goals. You'll hear a little drip, a little whisper, and that will be the thing that might be a clue. It might not be outwardly physical thing to start. It might be thoughts. Or like voices that you hear. I know that sounds crazy, but we've dealt with this. I don't need to keep going over it. So just keep yourself open to all of these things, and you'll be amazed. I mean, it still blows my mind. So I wish you guys the best 2021. Let's hope it's better than 2020, hey? Keep positive, keep open, and keep quiet. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you so much for listening. As ever, if you want to sort of give yourself the foundations of trailer music, learn the art of writing music for trailers, go on over to the Trailer Music School, where we've got plenty of courses teaching you the ins and outs of writing for trailers. And of course, if you want to take your career to the next level, where you get career opportunities and all sorts, join the waiting list at protege.school for next September's opening. You guys are legends. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had a lovely Christmas holiday, and I shall be speaking to you very soon. Take care, chaps.